All right, we are back. Working on this again, stripping the parts out of it. Last time we left off, I stopped at the CPU coolers because my screwdriver wasn't long enough. So as you just saw, I went to Home Depot and I bought this. But it doesn't matter because I found immediately when I got back my security bits with a small extension. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I can always use more tools, so this will go in the toolbox, and that's just how that works. It's usually how that works. Anyways, so now with our slight extension, we can reach all the way down into there, into that abyss there, and get those two screws out. They're actually security bits, or security heads. They're 2.5 millimeter Allen heads. So that's what that guy is. You know what? You can probably hear my dryer going, so I'm gonna go turn that off. Actually, I just shut the door, so you probably might be able to still hear it, but it shouldn't be too bad, and it should also be done soon. So, anyways, let's get one of these guys out. Well, let's get them both out, but you can only do one at a time. So, yeah. This is awkward. Alright, once you get all the screws loose, most of the screws, if not pretty much all of them, they won't come out with the screwdriver. They kind of just get stuck in those little bosses, but once they're free, they're free. So then all you got to do, give it a couple of wiggles. As you'll see down here on that little threaded stud, or whatever you want to call it right there. As you wiggle it around, like, see, it pulls. I don't know if that's showing it, but it's free because when you put the screw through there, it spreads it open and holds that on there tighter, or forces the cooler down. The head of the screw isn't actually pushing the flange of the cooler down on to the CPU. So it takes a little bit of wiggling back and forth, but it'll pop off of there. There we go. And this thing is a monster of a cooler. Oh, and FYI, it will pull the entire CPU out with it. It's quite the... I don't know if this is like a marvel of engineering. It's a very complicated sort of like daughter board with the CPU on it, and it's bolted to your CPU cooler. It seems overly complicated to me, to tell you the truth. But yeah, here it is. Now just pull the other one out. All right, both CPUs are removed. Now we can kind of just get all the rest of the little bits out. Mostly just, power supply plugs and this shield and all the little screws and studs that hold the motherboard in. And we should be golden. I did a little snooping around, and it looks like removing these few screws along this rail here is going to allow us to take this bottom or top or whatever way you're looking at it. Anyways, we can pull this plate out, which will let us get our hard drive cage and fans and stuff out of there. So I'm going to get to it. Oh, and then I'm going to pull this out first because it's just going to be in the way. So once you've removed sort of the plethora of hardware that keeps the motherboard in, most of them, along the sides and corners and stuff like that, they're not hard to find. You'd think you could just pull this straight out, but you can't because it's got these little locking pins, tabs, retainers. That guy right there. You'll see that there's that big hole next to it. That's because they use like slide locks. So just grab the whole thing. This divider or whatever it is makes a handy point to grab onto. Pull it to the left. And it doesn't want to move, real easily. But I mean, you just work it over to the left a little bit, start, checking out, making sure you're not running into anything. You don't want to force it, especially if you're trying to resell it. The wires hanging down through the hard drive cage and stuff like that might slow you down a little bit. But basically, just be careful with it, slide it to the left, and it'll come right out. Also, make sure you've removed all of the hardware. The little standoffs for securing your CPU cooler will get in the way because they go down, well, as you can see here, they go into the little studs on the back plate of the case, and the motherboard runs into them. So yeah, make sure you pull those out, or it's going to be real hard to get out. So where can I get the motherboard out of here? The power supply wires are the bane of my existence. I don't know if it's possible to do this without getting those out of the way. So my next plan is to remove, I've already removed it, but the screw there and the screw there, and then take this plate out, and then hopefully I'll be able to get it enough clearance to remove the whole motherboard. So that's what I'm going to do. Got the plate out. It only just fits out of this opening, and I had forgotten how enormous the power supply is. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Also, it's screwed in from the bottom, so this isn't going to give me enough room to get this out of here, I don't think. I might give it another try before I resort to flipping it over and taking the screws out of the bottom. But yeah, that's a thing. Okay, yeah, when you take that plate out, it gives you just enough room to slide this monster of a motherboard out of it. Now, this motherboard's kind of cool and kind of overly complicated. The North Bridge, I think it's the North Bridge. Anyways, it's got a chipset that's cooled on the back of it. And there's a fan that's up in here that blows air down behind it to try and keep it cool. Overall, I mean, this thing it kicks out an enormous amount of heat for what it can actually do, especially in today's day and age. So I know it to some of you this is kind of sacrilegious, but we're making it better. I promise. Maybe even I'll try my hand at a Hackintosh. I've never had one of those. Next up, we're going to yank this power supply out. Pretty simple, just a few screws down here, and this entire monolith of a power supply should fall right out. Time to pull the power supply out. I got all the screws out, and just like everything else in this case, Apple thought it to be a good idea to make removing it either a super precise procedure or impossible without I don't know, a lot of messing around with it, because getting it out, we're running into these, but we're only running into it by like a millimeter. So there's probably just a very precise angle in which this comes out. So fight with it for a minute and I'm sure it'll pop out. I mean, literally, it is hitting by like 1 or 2 millimeters. And trying to lift the front out of it first, you just run into this lip here. So, I mean, I guess I'm just going to force it out. I'm sure it's not going to bend it too bad. It had to be the way they put it in, right? And that method worked. Felt a little kind of barbaric, especially for something as elegant as this, that you would have to sort of force this lip forward just a little bit, but it wasn't bad, and I don't think it bent it at all. So yeah, it is what it is. What you gonna do? So a little bit about this power supply. This thing is freaking huge, and it's 460 watts. Wait, no, that can't be right. Yeah, total 600 watts. So it's not even really high powered, and it's not even reliable, because there's all kinds of services on eBay and stuff when you search for the power supply for these about just repair. So it's either A, not easy to get a hold of, or B, easy to repair. So who knows? Look at the size difference between a normal power supply and this thing. Oh, jeez. Anyway, so the plan is going to be, we're going to open up this. We're going to remove all the guts. I'm going to get a couple of nicer fans because these are loud. And I'm going to put the guts from this into here. And it should, without that fan on top in there, all the guts that are inside should fit inside of here without really any problem. So at least that's my hope, because that's the plan. So it's time to remove this wire channel and subsequent wiring, cabling. And I pulled out the first part, and I found out that pretty much it's just glued to the back. So looks like with a little bit of gentle prying, the whole thing's gonna come out. So I'm gonna do that, and then I am gonna work at pulling this out so I can get these out. And we will be, oh yeah, and I want to remove whatever that electrical, it's probably like a temperature sensor or something up in there. I don't know, I want to get that out of there too. In order to get this tray out of here, so we can remove, all our bits and pieces up there, you have to remove all of these screws, I guess you can call them, nuts, bolts, whatever. And these are a 2.5 millimeter Allen head. And then you also have to remove all of these little guys here, which are kind of special looking, I guess. I don't know, it's not just a regular nut or bolt. I haven't taken any of them off yet. Those are a T8 star head. So we got Allens up here, stars down there, and a bunch of them. But I guess that helps make this thing stout. All right, I'm gonna keep at it. Just got one of those nuts or screws with the T8 head removed. And this special little guy here is one of the reasons why this computer probably cost $4,000 back in 2004. This is some special, like only using it in this system, custom hardware. I feel like there are more economical ways to achieve what they tried to do here. Oh boy. Okay, the plan was, or at least I thought it would be, that if I got all, or took all these screws off, then I could pull this out of the way. It's clipped onto the lever there, but I thought there would be just enough room to, work it out of there and move it out of the way, and then pull this, whatever you want to call this plate, this sheet, the divider, whatever, to pull it out of the way. And unfortunately, with these things on here, which I'm not even sure how they even got this, they look bigger than that hole. They are bigger than that hole. How did they get this in here? How does this go together? What kind of magic? Anyways, I'm gonna keep fighting with it. It had to go together somehow, so yeah, I'm gonna keep on keeping on. Sure, I'll figure it out. So after a few minutes fiddling with this this whole contraption here, these guys here are actually held in by these little clips on the bottom of them. Let me see if I can do it here. I don't know if you can see it, but basically you take that metal clip that I just showed you and twist it and it'll pop off. Should be real fun to get back on there considering I can't see it. But that's a job for future me. So yeah, once you get that guy there out of it, it just kind of pushes forward and, well, you have to slide it to the left. As you can see right there, it's got those slots for sliding it over because it does tuck up. Zoom in. It tucks up behind your PCI Express or your PCI expansion ports, so you have to slide it over to the left a little bit, and then with a little bit of wiggling, we should be able to get this out. Holy cow, it's out! That was a lot of effort, actually. So that's how you do it. It's easy. 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, we're at a point where everything is pretty much gone. About the only thing left is the front I/O and power button. It looks like it's soldered on there, those two little spots right there and at the top. It doesn't look like there's a clear or clean way to get this off of here, and I do want it to remain intact because I want to reuse this power button. So I'll probably do that off camera another day. It's getting kind of late. I think it's about 11 o'clock here, so I don't want to damage that because, like I said, I do want that power button. So we're gonna call it a quits there. And oh yeah, right. There's a small amount of parts, small pile of parts that'll be reused. Actually, this guy here won't be reused. So this stuff is going back in it. All this stuff is going on, well, a majority of it's going on eBay. And I don't know what system I'm gonna put in here. I have plenty of systems I could put in there, temporarily but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We don't have to worry about what we're gonna stick in here just yet. There's a few modifications, like physical modifications we have to do to the case. We're gonna end up cutting all of this out, replacing it with a new panel. I'm going to cut out all of this and replace it and epoxy in a new piece. There's gonna be some sanding, some painting involved. What else? We gotta put a new back plane in here for the motherboard to rest against, but that shouldn't be a problem because, like I said, I did get a kit that should make this pretty easy. We're gonna end up opening up the power supply, throwing all the guts from it away, and putting guts from a newer power supply into it. What else? I think, oh, and anywhere there's a fan, like I do want to keep this hard drive cooler fan, but I'm gonna replace the fan itself with a probably a Noctua or some other quality fan, because up here there's probably not going to be a whole lot of airflow, and I'm probably going to put a couple of 1 terabyte or a couple of 2 terabyte drives in there, just for, you know, mass storage. So as far as cooling the computer itself, you know, it's going to be flipped upside down. Your CPU cooler is going to be down here, and your PCI cards are going to be up here. I'm going to build a, I'll probably 3D print actually, a front mount system for two 140 or two 120s. I'll probably do two 140s to keep it as quiet as it can be. There'll be a single 120 back here. And I think that's going to be about it. So we'll have 2, 3, 4, and then of course the CPU cooler fan. So a total of about 5 fans in here. Oh, shoot. These guys here for cooling off the power supply. Those are both going to be replaced by probably Noctuas. So yeah, we'll have 2, 4, 5, 6, and then the CPU fan 7. So, and then there's going to be these fans on the GPU. I want to keep this as a quiet sort of build. I want it to kind of sound nice as well. So there's gonna be some experimentation. Maybe I'll put a, I mean, I could just up here, instead of 2 fans, I could do a water cooler that will still have 2 fans. Anyways, yep, I think we're gonna call it there. I'm getting tired. So give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my video here. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. If if you don't like the fact that I've done this to this, I understand if you give me a thumbs down. I really do. However, join me next time when we continue this build, or deconstruction rather, if you want to call it that, and we get it ready to start putting new components in there. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.